Up next on Rob at Home, using social media for the greater good. Meet a California man who is opening the window to the world on what it's like for his family dealing with dementia.
How old am I going to be?
You're going to be 90.
90?
90. Can you
You're
believe
kidding.
it? Yep.
How did I live that long?
I don't know, Dad.
Meet Dan Salinger, who is using TikTok to connect with people all around the world, showing what it's like for his family living with someone with dementia. He's connecting. 10 million people have already responded.
Well, what I've got to do is figure out what to do with my family and where am I going to live.
Well, I know where you're going to live.
I may want to move out of here.
You want to move out of my house?
Is this your house?
Yeah.
Dan Salinger joins us next on Rob at Home to talk about TikTok, his dad, and more.
And now, Rob on the road, exploring Northern California.
Dan Salinger joins us now from his home. Dan, it is so good to see you on this platform, and thank you for doing this.
Well, Rob, thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
You know, I have to tell you, anyone who uses their own time and their platform, which everybody has, right, for the greater good is something that really captures my attention. And you are capturing a lot of people's attention. Almost 1 million people are following your journey with your dad.
Isn't that crazy?
It's wild. It's wild.
Wild. He has some kind of appeal that transcends culture, country. It's a worldwide phenomenon. I don't know what it is, but he certainly captured the imagination of the world.
You said the world. You're hearing from people all over the world.
Oh my gosh. Rob, I mean, from Tanzania to Saudi Arabia to South Africa to Europe to South America, Canada, I think every single continent except Antarctica is represented, and we hear from them daily in the comments. Absolutely.
The reason I ask you all of that and point out the worldwide impact is because it's all about your dad, and it's all about explaining and showing through real life what it's like to live with dementia and someone who has dementia.
Yeah, absolutely. And it, you know, it wasn't something that we went into thinking we were going to, you know, educate the world. We just took him into the home, and the rest just kind of happened organically.
My stuff here.
Yeah, it's all yours.
I can't believe it.
Yep.
92. Lisa Ford. I teach 5th grade in Western New York.
Yeah. 5th grade teacher. Thank you so much.
All these people from all back here. I don't know them.
Well, Dad, you must have had some kind of impact on them.
I'd have to go through all these cards. That's nice people sending me stuff from New York, but I don't even know them.
Well, they know you.
As his symptoms became more pronounced, it became clear he was not going to be able to live by himself. He probably stayed by himself, probably even a little too long. But we became extremely worried he was going to have a fall. And my brother Mark, the other half of this situation, he took my dad in, and he had my dad for 6 months by himself, dealing with this every single day. And at some point, my brother needed a break, and so he took a little vacation. And for that week, Danielle and I kept my dad here at the house. And at the conclusion of that week, it became clear that while he appears easygoing, it was so difficult. It was such a difficult week. We knew that it would be impossible. It would be an impossible task to ask Mark to do this permanently full time. So we decided, and I discussed it with Danielle, and she, agreed to allow me to bring him in half time. And that's what we did, to kind of give Mark a break and let us pick up, to do our part and pick up the slack. And then, since we brought him in, we really discovered, how difficult it is, but we're also really enjoying and growing ourselves with this journey, and basically keeping my dad with the family and outside of some kind of memory care unit. So yeah, it's been an interesting year for sure.
I'm a big fan. I gotta take a picture.
Oh, look at that.
I'm a big fan of yours. Yeah. Your son?
What does your father have today and not have when it comes to the man that you know?
His situation is short-term memory loss. So the memory loss is most pronounced short-term. It's not perfect old, as you get back, you make 30 or 40 years that are very difficult for him. When he goes back to his childhood, he remembers names of friends. He remembers, his older sister who passed when he was in his teens. He remembers, his education. He remembers where he went to school. He remembers the cities. But if I asked him, this morning, before I fill him in on where he is, he may not even know what state he's in. So it's clearly the older memories are there. Sometimes they're harder to get to than other times. He does vary, even minute to minute. He will vary with his clarity and his ability to recall. But it's a work in progress, and we just do the best we can.
Does he know?
Does he know that he has memory issues? Yes.
I think about all these things you're saying, and I know he can hear you. Does he know we're talking about him?
He does not know right now. He's in there eating. Danielle was she was very talented in the way she scooted him and escorted him back to the kitchen. I've told him that I'm going to be on, and he will definitely watch this, and he will enjoy watching it. He'll be laughing with me sitting on the couch. That's you. That's you.
Well,
yeah,
let me
Dad.
ask you, what do you want him to know when he sees this? What do you want your dad to know when he sees this?
My dad has done a lot for me in my life and my entire family. He's always been there. And even at the beginning of his dementia, we still needed him and depended on him for certain things. He was the rock of the family. And the most interesting thing about this experience, even when we took him in with dementia, what does he do? He blows up my TikTok channel, changes, the core of this household over the past year. I mean, things change when you have that many followers on TikTok, and he just is still contributing. He's still making my life better, more fun, and it's not me. That's all my dad. So the amazing thing, even at 90 years old, even with dementia, he's still contributing to my life, my kids' life, all of his kids' life. He's still managing to do it. It's quite spectacular for my dad. And I would want him to know that if he ever the clarity to think he's still helping us. It's just remarkable.
I love that. And he's not just helping his family. There are people that you are running into that he has impacted directly through your TikTok channel who have learned how to deal with dementia because of the way you are saying, I am opening the blinds, I am letting you in, here's what it's like. Can you give me some examples?
Absolutely. And it cuts both ways. It's not just, caregiver things, because I'm not an expert caregiver. I'm an expert on my dad. So, I'm not an expert in dementia and Alzheimer's. I just know how to deal with my dad through trial and error. And so some of that might be useful to people, but it's more just making it mainstream and normalizing it. I got an email the other day from somebody. It was so heartwarming. He said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know. I've never contacted anybody from social media, but the other day I was walking with my wife, and an older gentleman walked up, and it was kind of clear he was a bit he didn't really know where he was, and he said he walked up and said, "Hey, I'm having trouble finding my house." And the person said, immediately I thought of Grandpa. And instead of maybe calling 911 or just walking by and letting the person deal with it, they said, "Oh, well, come, let's go take a walk." And they were talking, and he was asking, "Do you remember your name?" "Well, I don't remember my name. Do you remember your phone number?" And the man remembered his phone number. They called the house. They got a machine, but they got that he remembered. And they were walking through the neighborhood, and then once the man just did a U-turn and just walked up a path. He obviously found his house, and they followed him in, and they met his caregiver, and she was so grateful that they had brought her back. And the person said in an email, "I never would have done that if I wasn't watching your dad." Wow. That warmed my heart. And there's been similar situations like that, other emails, other stories that have really, made me feel really good about what I'm doing. Even though we didn't start out, with altruistic intentions, it clearly is helping a lot of people. And that just really makes me happy.
And you said something that just really, really jumps out at me, and it is, you are humanizing this. You are showing that this is everyday real life. And we have seen so many situations where there's there's an invisible wall built that separates people from humanity. And we're seeing that in many cases today. And we see it with the homeless crisis. We see it with, which is really a humanitarian crisis.
Absolutely.
And we see it with all types of people seeing other people not for being people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in this country and maybe in other countries, it's become, normal just to take these people and lock them away, which you can't see, no see, no hear, no trouble. Well, they're there, whether they're locked up or whether they're living at home. I personally, I think it's great. I wish that this country would evolve to where this situation was the norm, and locking up in a home is the exception, or at least wait until it's absolutely necessary. If something were to happen to my dad physically and we just couldn't manage him medically appropriately, there may come a time when he has to go and get appropriate help. But our goal is to delay that as long as we can. There are some really horrible statistics. When someone goes to memory care, the average lifespan is about 7 months in memory care. And of course, that's really broad, and you're taking a lot of different things into consideration with that. But 7 months is the average. And just, my dad, it's been about a year and a half since we had to take him in. So we're already double the average. I hope he's not going anywhere soon. I hope this becomes more common. I think that would be a great thing. I think, even with the parents, like my mom, one of her biggest concerns is, how is this going to impact our lives? Mark, is Mark going to be able to go out and meet someone and complete his life when he's spending his time taking care of his dad? And, the same to me, how is it affecting my marriage? And I tell her, Mom, this is what we want to be doing. When I'm 90 years old or sitting on my deathbed and I look back, do I want to be spending these days, these nights, these evenings, I don't know, drinking at a bar or playing blackjack or hanging out with friends or sitting on my room watching the Giants game with my dad? And I can tell you, I have no regrets thus far.
I'm happy for you for that. What would you advise people who are dealing with this entering into their world, the signs of dementia, be it in a parent or a spouse, or maybe themselves? What would you advise to people, some of those first steps to do? And I know this is your personal story, but what would be some advice you could offer someone who's just sticking their toes into this, so to speak? Plan
ahead. If you have family to draw on, speak with your family, get a plan going. The things you're going to have to jump into really quick are making sure that things like hygiene are taken care of. You have to jump into finances. People become really vulnerable to scammers and thieves. I mean, I see it every day in what I do, and even I have friends that are dealing with that. So to the extent that you can get in and protect them financially, physically, start to meet their doctors, start accompanying them to their doctor's appointments, because you are going to have to be the one that carries that forward and continues their treatment. Talk to your family about it. Don't put it off. Bring them in. If it's a situation where you can do a split or get some help, great. But the more planning you can do, the easier it will be. It's so easy just to sit back and let things get thrown in your lap. But it's really tough when you have 2 days to decide what you're going to do with your dad, or if he falls and you have to bring him in and you have no planning, it's tough. So the more planning you can do, the easier it's going to be, for sure.
Have you been given a prognosis?
He is not officially diagnosed. He probably does not have Alzheimer's at this point. If he does, it's probably early stages. He clearly has dementia, but with no specific diagnosis. I mean, there are 2 doctors have signed that he's not capable of taking care of himself. So clearly it's obvious, but my dad has not been staged. And at this point, I don't have any specific diagnosis for you.
And, I will say that with the umbrella of dementia. Within it is Alzheimer's. That's one of the ways that dementia can live inside of a human being, one of the ways, and there's many others. And many times those diagnoses don't even come till even after the person has died.
Right.
But I do want to ask you that all along the way, when you are sharing these stories on TikTok, and you're so lucky to have this ability today to capture all this footage of your dad, and these conversations, what has this done for you?
I mean, it's done a lot for me. I'll tell you, it's actually helped me in my day-to-day treatment with my dad. I mean, I didn't really think that would happen, but being able to read other person's observations and their comments about what they see and how I interact with them, a lot of it is I can't use, but some of it is genuine. Some people have really, helped me, or, some of the earlier videos when I wasn't as patient, maybe in the future when I'm dealing with them, the memory of those comments comes back in, and it's calming. So the social media experience has not only made me a better caregiver, it's also kind of brought the family in. It helped Danielle in dealing, it's really what's difficult in the situation with my wife. It's not her father, and yet she is dealing with them, and almost more than me if I'm gone at work, and she does his laundry, she cooks for him, she changes his bedding. I mean, it's a lot of work and responsibility for her. And, she's been generous and nice enough to do that. And the TikToks have kind of helped her and made that experience at least a little more rewarding, because now, there's more to it. And we're talking about him to other, to his fans. And, he's really, in that instance, he's actually brought the whole family closer together. My wife and I get to discuss TikTok, her channel, my channel. And it actually, the weirdest thing with TikTok and my dad, it's actually made us stronger. In our situation, because of TikTok, it may actually strengthened our marriage, even though, it was very difficult at the beginning. This is a situation that can be very harmful to relationships, for sure.
That is so powerful. When we use any type of ability to reach another person for its best purposes, so much good can be done. And we see on TikTok so many pages and channels that are just filled with junk. And then we see people who are using it for good. And it's just a beautiful thing to know that is something that can be for the greater good. It's almost like a support group.
Yeah, I mean, and in a more general sense, you mentioned I have 800,000 followers. So that, for me, that's a responsibility that goes beyond just, taking care of your parents, and to try and be a little more responsible. So we started something called the Talk on a Walk, which is where I'm doing my videos while I'm walking, hopefully encouraging people to start exercising and walking. That was big for my dad. He was a prolific walker. So I'm trying to promote health. We do some unhealthy things on the channel. I try not to drink alcohol on the channel, but occasionally, that will happen. We try and promote healthy living as well, and be responsible with the viewership that my dad has so generously provided for me.
Yeah, I see that, and I also, it's also real life. So I think it's great how you fold in real life. It's a window into a world that if we could open on every single issue in this world, we'd see how much alike we all are. We could do so much good. And you're doing that. So I'm just grateful that you are. And I also want to ask you, does your dad know what TikTok is?
My dad does not know TikTok per se, but we call it the show, or, TV. You're on TV. He's had, a number of news organizations come out. So he's gone through the experience. He knows when someone's sitting there with a big camera over their head. He obviously knows he's on TV. He doesn't understand this particular app, but he knows, and from the letters and things, that he has this following out there in the world. And I don't think he clearly understands it, but he knows something is going on out there. Why phones are in his face a lot, or why cameras are coming, why the news is coming over, or even what I'm doing right now. He's walked by both ways. He doesn't even give it another thought. So he's becoming accustomed to the life, I guess, a life of social media or media in general. But no, he doesn't. He doesn't know that he has close to a million people that love him, and he doesn't know that he's being broadcast out to, tens of millions of people. He just knows he's on a show.
Yeah, and then you look at the number of comments that you've gotten, and millions and millions, and it blows my mind how you keep up with so many.
I do my best to respond to those comments, because it is, like you say, this is real life. These are real issues. And, a lot of people who are watching my channel have real problems themselves. And oftentimes they will reach out. And that's one of the most difficult things I have, is taking the time to pick out those people that I really need to respond to. If somebody is, saying, I don't know if I'm going to make it through the next day, or, you kept me alive yesterday. Those are people I'm going to be on and be out there and encourage them to go out and get help, for sure. But I do my best to respond to almost everybody that takes the time to watch and have a nice comment. I think it's something we owe. I do my best. On some of the bigger videos, it's impossible, but I do my best. And so
I'm just flipping through right now on my phone and looking. I mean, on this one post just 10 days ago, 160,000 people have responded. And it's just, I mean, you have over 10 million just likes, which means that's 10 million people you have connected with. They're not just liking it for, random things. It's, you are connecting heart to heart.
Well, and that's wonderful. And, that's my dad that's bringing in those vast numbers of people. He has this kind of weird appeal that, is kind of like a very broad, wide appeal. I don't understand it. None of us understand it, but we're grateful for it.
And I also want to ask you, you mentioned shared, and think about this for a minute. If you had to say what must be shared about this part of your journey today, not this interview, but your life with your dad, with your wife, what must be shared from this moment?
That's a great question. I think that, and I'll probably have a much better perspective 5 years from now looking back. But I really think if I look back right now at my children, and the last 5 years of my children's life, and things that I missed, whether it was a sports game, or not going to something at their school, or whatever it was that I was too busy to do and had something else to do. I'm not making that mistake right now with my dad. Once time is gone, it's gone. You can never get it back. And these are different bonding experience I have with my dad, but it is a true, I think, almost deeper bond than I've had with him before. There is a weird, kind of circle of life when I'm cutting his toenails. Something he used to do for me when I was a baby, when I'm, drying his back when he gets out of the shower because it hurts for him to pick his arms up. These are the gifts that he gave to me when I couldn't help myself. And now I have an opportunity to return that. And that is something that gives you, it's very fulfilling. And I think people have to realize there's more than just taking your dad in. There are the quiet moments, the moments with the shower, the moments when he's going to bed, taking his pills, dressing his wounds, putting on a Band-Aid, dealing with his, if he has a rash, putting the ointment on his leg. I mean, it is full circle. I'm giving back what he gave to me. And I think that is more rewarding than people realize. So I think that's what needs to be shared.
I love that for you. When I watched your channel, and I watch it all the time. In fact, I had no idea that you were in Northern California, and I'd been following you on there, and then I just found that out. But I have to tell you that I thought about the moments in between, from the videos to but between that, the real life. And it's, I thought about what that's like to parent your parent.
That's what it is. It's exactly what it is. You are parenting your parent, but they're still your parent. It's a very fine line. And, ultimately, if we're arguing and I know I'm right, I still have to defer to him in the end because he is my parent, unless it's dangerous or what have you. But that's what it is. It is parenting a parent. And, I wish I had been able to enjoy parenting my kids. I wish I had known how fast that time was going to go. And now I know that at some point in the future, my dad's not going to be here. I read it every day in the comments from other people. Enjoy these moments because, I miss my dad. I miss my mom. I miss those 30 questions, repeating the same question. And so it's kind of, in my life, I have that perspective now, and I'm going to enjoy every moment of it because I know it's going to be gone in the blink of an eye. If you are in my situation and your parents are getting there and you think you can't do it, you may surprise yourself. Take a chance. If you have siblings, have the talk. If you can do, whatever situation you can work out to take care of your parents, if you can do it, do it. Believe in it. Believe you can do it. Do it. I promise you it will be rewarding.
Please thank your wife and your dad, especially your dad, just for all of it, for the whole thing.
I certainly will.
Thank you for joining us. It's so great to see you.